The great journey of Eric Hawkins continues as he's very passionate about renewable technology and is focused on creating transformation in Africa. He went to Strathmore University to conduct solar hot water training and workshop for 2 days. Eric Hawkins is a renowned and an astute renewable energy entrepreneur who is the founder and managing director at SolarSpeed Flex Cooperative Limited, Powertex Solar Limited, and Jayhawks International.
I just want to say something about what Chris has said about the tank, the vented feed tank. Inside the big tank, the cold water pipe that is fed from the small tank actually goes to the bottom. I've sort of spent a long time in manufacturing and seeing how things are made. So the cold water does not feed, generally, if they are feeding it at the top of the can, it's a bad manufacturer, but a good manufacturer, okay, they have a pipe going right to the bottom, so the water in that small tank, it actually fills the tank from the bottom, so all you have at the top is the hot water. Just to clarify that, okay?
The 2-day workshop's course content included solar hot water, regulations, systems, installations, challenges and solutions for the region. Practical sessions on solar PV kits, latest technology, LED lighting and innovation, renewable energy, sales and business development, professional options and best practice. The speaker gave a brief explanation of the expectations and the exceptions of using hot water solar system.
It's failed. So once the thermostat fails, the electric water heater, the immersion heater, could be 3 kilowatts, could be 6 kilowatts. That will just keep heating and heating and heating. And if the valve that is on these tanks fails because of the water quality, whether it's a large scale, it might take 1 or 2 years for the valve to stop working. Because that valve has only got a small seating in the valve, and once that valve has now become destroyed by the high temperatures, that valve fails, your tank becomes a time bomb. Just keep that in mind. So, okay. So then you've got all your installation pipe here. Because you're trying to now stop this overheating, because once this tank reaches 60, 70, if it's a pressurized tank, you have to stop this putting more heat into there. It's like the immersion heater. So if you can't stop the sun, then something has to stop it for you. And the only thing that stops it for you is the controller that actually stops the pump running. So once the pump stops running, any heat expansion in here, and these are heat pipe collectors, okay, these will heat up to 200 degrees. The heat pipe itself, if you put it inside the tube I've got down here, within 1 minute being in the sun, you will burn your fingers at 1st-degree burns at 100 degrees. And I know about this because I've already had this done myself. So you have an expansion vessel here. The expansion vessel is sized to the quantity of water in the pipe system. So for example, the UK system with say 44 tubes, okay, would have an expansion vessel of 26 litres, because that's giving you the allowance of the expansion in the system. So you have to take effect of the expansion system.
Some of the factors that one should consider while installing the hot water solar system include the cost of electricity and environment conservation. Eric Hawkins explained to the audience how thermosiphon functions for housing development. Thermosiphon solar thermal system has some pros and cons. These systems have 2 main advantages. They are relatively very simple, cheap and easy to install. The lack of complex parts makes them easy to maintain. It's also important to consider the disadvantages. Direct systems cannot be used in hard water areas unless a water softener is installed before the collector. They cannot be used where freezes occur unless an indirect system is installed and the storage tank is in a heated area of the building. The storage tank must be installed above the collector array, which is unsuitable in many residential settings. Eric also mentioned the various types of solar hot water systems and how each one of them works. Those hot water solar systems include direct systems and indirect common Western systems.
The heat pipe condenser is actually what converts the heat from the vacuum tube, which is down there, into very high temperatures. So what I designed, was a way that 100% of this condenser was in the water, but I tripled the thickness of the copper pipe. This is on my roof in the UK for 14 years, and I don't have glycol. I can show you pictures with snow on the roof of about 6 inches. I can show you where the tubes are frozen, but I don't use glycol because the water in this pedal is the same water I pump directly into my thermal store. So that is what is inside a typical heat pipe collector as a manifold, we call it. And here is where the sensor pocket is. And with my system, this just goes straight to the like that. So when that heat exchange and heat in the air, I get 100% more efficiency. But when I send the water in here direct to my tank, my system is twice as efficient as going through a coil.
As the saying goes, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and therefore, Eric made the workshop interesting by engaging his audience in a small exercise to cheer them up.
59.
Okay.
60. 61. 62. 64. 65. 66. 68. 69.
Eric Hawkins went to Cyprus where he spent 5 years. At some point, there was no water or standpipes at the villa for 4 days. He could only access bottled water because the island dam was 80% empty. The lessons that Hawkins learned from his experience in Cyprus is that the heat pipe thermosiphon systems with unvented tank was imported from China and it was not designed for countries with water shortages. In 2007, the government banned all cold water tanks placed above the solar water heating system. Cyprus has a well-established solar water heating manufacturing industry. Majority of all properties are supplied with piped water from the dam in the mountains. Recently, a severe drought had dried up water resources across counties in Kenya, causing 3.4 million Kenyans to suffer from food insecurity. 19 million Kenyans lack access to safe drinking water. Eric urges Kenyans to have respect for the rivers and the community they live in order to improve lives. Some of the impacts of the water crisis that Hawkins mentioned include water shortages and drought affects children's education, and through the use of a central located solar pasteurizer, dirty river water can be converted to clean drinking water. Water shortages in dams limit the generation of electricity. It is clear that nobody in the world has an answer regarding when the rain will fall and for how long it will last without causing flooding, as witnessed in Paris in January 2018, whereby, with river level witnessed 5 meters above normal. One of the main challenges of solar hot water systems is that the majority of the solar water heating system failures is related to the wrong type of plumbing materials and fittings. Safety precautions. The faulty controller and the water in the manifold of the heat pipe collector should not be above 120 degrees Celsius, as the valve will blow off the water to pass through clothes to the skin. It is important to think beyond the short term and look at the long-term value for the solar hot water systems installed. It is also essential to invest in high-quality plumbing pipe system that meets quality standards. Eric emphasized that one should be in a position to distinguish between the type of solar water heating collectors and the hot water tanks and systems that are designed for specific countries. Buyers should be aware of stainless steel pressure tanks sold with heat pipe tube collectors as the thermosiphon from China because they don't last because of low quality. With increase in temperature, when the heat pipes are direct in the water expands by 10%. If the temperature or pressure increases, the release valve fails to open and the tank becomes a time bomb.
It doesn't matter where you put it, because all it is applies a pressure as well. And by making this, you need to have probably 30 to 40 litres. So by having a 30 to 40 litre expansion tank, it could be a typically central heating one, because that's what we use in the UK, it's a red colour. That will expand 10% as it gets to a point of 90 degrees. So that expansion goes into there. As you have cold water and that cools down, that water expands back. And that gives you a second release valve. So if that fails or it goes above that, then that is your, if you like, your final thing. But that would be how you solve the problem of a pressure tank. Okay.
Everything else occurs from China. So the choice of pipe we have as stainless steel is 304 or 316L. 304 I don't recommend if you're near the sea because of the salty weather, and if you don't insulate, okay, this will rust. I've already seen some of this, okay, rusting when they use it for toilets, men's toilets, you can see it rusting. So the whole idea from a plumbing point of view, you've got your roll of pipe, which you've seen, the coils of pipe. They can be 10 metres, 15 metres, 20 metres, 30 metres, and we have one coil with a sensor and one coil without a sensor. The sensor one obviously goes with the controller, and the other one doesn't. And you've got, by having a long roll, you can roll it, you can bend it as I've shown you here. You don't then need to do this. The key problem with this type of plumbing is that the water is trying to flow smoothly, okay, without any back pressure. Every time you add an elbow, okay, to a plumbing system, you're reducing the pressure flow by 10%.
Usually, at the end of every training or course, participants are tested. In that regard, the EENOVATORS team organized such a session during the workshop. The participants were subdivided into two teams, A and B. Team A emerged the winner.
You can't answer more than one question for your team. But if you want to, only earn your team 1 point. If no one raises their hands within 10 seconds, then the question moves to the other team. Each question must be answered by one person, even if it has multiple answers. And there's no discussion within your team. So there's no discussing. Are the rules clear? Or do DVT stand for? Yes, correct. 3 points for today. The temperatures are going up. Team B, which solar hot water heating system is prone to explosion if the correct measures are not considered?
The closed one.
The closed. Experts? No? So 0 points. The experts will explain.
The participants' interaction with the EENOVATORS team was very encouraging. They asked a lot of questions and also gave their views.
During the quiz, any questions that you might have from the quiz?
Nothing that is prone to explosion.
The system that is prone to explosion, that is a pressurized system or an unvented system. So that it gathers a lot of pressure in it, then if the pressure relief valve fails and you cannot release the pressure, then it explodes.
What was the other second you said? Pressurized system or
unvented.
Is there another protection if that valve, the release valve fails? Is there any other protection that can happen? How possible will be a material which can, instead of exploding the whole system, make a pipe or a small pipe can explode instead of the whole system. The other systems.
Yes. In other designs, and that's what Eric was mentioning yesterday. Like if you look at the UK design, they put about 3 safety relief systems for pressure, just to ensure that if one fails, then you have 2 different other options for that. But mostly in our Kenyan context, we just use the pressure relief valve at the tank, which is dangerous. The other option is to avoid.
Yes, we can request ERC to put this on board and
Yes, and Kenya, that would be an initiative of KEBS, to come up with the standards, and then ERC adopts it in the regulations. And I'm sure this is something that is going to happen anytime soon.
The potential issues of the 2013 regulations. Have you figured that one out? Okay.
Mike can answer that. The regulations are from 2012.
So why should one go to the PVT route? The PVT panel combines the benefits of a thermal solar system and a photovoltaic system, which until now has been sold as separate systems according to Eric Hawkins. These benefits include efficiency increase by up to 30%, output increase by up to 10%, heating of swimming pools in combination with a thermal heat pump, heat energy storage in the ground, preheating of groundwater and hot water generation, supplementary heating, and defrosting of snow and ice. The participants got a chance to be shown one of the hot water tanks. They also learned what type of tank they should purchase.
There are 2 tanks. There is the outer tank that you are seeing, and there is the inner tank. Now where the water gets into, the inner tank. Between the two, there is an insulation layer. 50 mm insulation layer. Depending. It's an integrated solar water heater. You can switch it. Like the way you're seeing what Eric was demonstrating. It's a split system. So in the same tank, of course for him
Stainless vented tank is a good example of combining a vented non-pressure stainless steel water tank with water-filled glass tubes or heat pipe evacuated tubes. This is called a thermostor, where the water in the cylinder is non-potable. It means once the cylinder has been filled with water, it stays in it and occasionally it is topped up. These tanks can safely be heated up to 90 degrees Celsius with no dangers of overheating or exploding if the pressure or temperature valve fails due to limescale buildup. According to Eric, the long-term solution for Kenya and other African nations is to establish a strong water tank manufacturing industry. The continued importation of small and large water tanks from all parts of the industrialized countries is very expensive to the importer, distributor. 80% of the container of the material used to produce 40 times 200 liter finished water tanks is air. It is possible for one investment group to establish, manufacture, and assemble solar water tanks in Kenya under a license agreement. Indeed, Eric Hawkins' passion in sharing his knowledge to the world can be demonstrated by the number of workshops he has attended without tire. Education and training for all parties in the solar hot system process is a worthwhile investment.